Let me ask you something, and I want you to actually think about this. Don't just let it pass. Why do some people with less talent, less money, less opportunity than you end up building something real, and others, smart, capable, full of ideas, end up exactly where they started 5 years later? I used to think it was luck. Then I thought it was discipline. Then I thought it was the right environment, the right mentor, the right moment. I was wrong about all of it. It was desire, not the word, not the concept, the actual thing, the real version of it, and most of us have never actually felt it. What desire actually is. I want to tell you about a girl I know. She was 23, working at a call center, not because she had no ambition. She had plenty, but ambition without direction just makes you restless. And she was very, very restless. She had this idea she kept talking about, a clothing brand. Nothing crazy. Simple, clean, affordable. She talked about it at every dinner, mentioned it to every friend, wrote about it in her notes app at 2 a.m. For 2 years, she talked about it. Nothing happened. Then her mom got sick. Not dramatically sick, chronically sick. The kind of sick that quietly drains a family's savings. The kind where you watch someone you love just manage, get by, and you realize if you don't do something, this is the rest of it. This is just how it goes. Something changed in her after that. The idea stopped being a conversation topic. It stopped being something she'd do someday when conditions were right. It became something she could not justify not doing. Within 6 months, she had her first collection. Within a year, she had walked away from the call center. Within 3 years, her mom had stopped worrying about money. Same idea she'd had for 2 years. Same girl. Same 24 hours. The only thing that changed was that the desire became real. That's what I want to talk to you about today. Not the idea of desire. Not desire as a motivational concept. The actual thing. What it is. What it does to you. And how you find the real version of it. Desire versus wishing. The honest difference. Like you're figuring this out together. Most of us are not desiring things. We are wishing for them. And wishing feels exactly like desiring from the inside. That's what makes it so tricky. When you wish for something, you think about it. You get excited about it. You make a few moves toward it. And then life interrupts. Someone needs something. Something goes wrong. You get tired. You get scared. And you stop. And you tell yourself you'll come back to it. And sometimes you do. And sometimes 5 years pass and you realize you never actually came back. You just kept intending to. That's wishing. And there is nothing wrong with wishing. But do not confuse it with desire. Because desire does not stop when life interrupts. Desire is what interrupts life. You know what I mean. You've seen it. Maybe in someone else. Maybe in yourself briefly. Before it faded. That thing where a person is just unreasonable about something. Where they will not let it go no matter what. Where every obstacle just makes them more stubborn. That is not a personality type. That is what happens when the desire is real. There was a man I read about once. A writer. Spent 15 years getting rejected. Not 15 rejections. 15 years of them. He wallpapered his office with the rejection letters. Literally. Put them on the wall. People thought he was eccentric at best, delusional at worst, and I never forgot this. He said, "I didn't wallpaper my office to motivate myself. I wallpapered it because I wanted those letters to know they hadn't won, that they were just paper, and I was still here." That is desire. Not discipline, not routine, not mindset. A person who has decided, really decided, that this thing matters more than the discomfort of pursuing it. And here is what I want you to understand about that. He was not born that way. He did not wake up one day and choose to have that level of conviction. It came from a specific somewhere, and that somewhere is where real desire always starts. Where real desire comes from. Real desire almost never comes from comfort. I know that's not what you want to hear, but think about every person you know who has built something real. Think about the ones who actually moved, not the ones who talked about it, the ones who did it. Almost every single one of them had a moment, a specific moment, a breaking point or a loss or a realization so uncomfortable they couldn't unfeel it. Sometimes it's pain. Sometimes it's watching someone else suffer when you know you could help and you're not helping because you haven't built the thing yet. Sometimes it's a number, a bank account number, a diagnosis, an anniversary that makes everything suddenly urgent. Sometimes it's just a very quiet moment of honesty where you sit with yourself and you ask, if I keep going the way I'm going, if I keep doing what I'm doing every day, where does this actually end up? And the answer is uncomfortable. And uncomfortable answers, if you're brave enough to sit with them, become the fuel. I want to be very clear about something here. I am not telling you that you need to suffer to find your desire. I am not telling you that you need a tragedy. What I am telling you is that real desire needs a real reason. Something underneath it that is bigger than mood, bigger than inspiration, bigger than a good day. Because there will be bad days. There will be weeks where nothing works. There will be moments where every sensible voice in your life is telling you to stop, to be realistic, to be grateful for what you have. And on those days, inspiration is useless. Discipline is barely enough. The only thing that keeps a person moving on those days is a reason so real that stopping would cost more than then continuing. That is what desire is. That is the full thing, not a feeling you chase, a reason you carry. The size of your desire determines the size of your life. I want to tell you something that took me a long time to actually believe. Not just understand, believe. The size of what you build on the outside is almost always a direct reflection of the size of the desire you are carrying on the inside. Think about that carefully. A person whose biggest desire is stability, to not lose what they have, to keep things from getting worse, will make every decision from a place of protection. And protection is important, but it does not build, it preserves. A person whose biggest desire is to be comfortable, enough money, enough security, enough approval from people around them, will do enough to reach comfortable and stop, because the desire is satisfied. There is no more pull. But a person whose desire is bigger than themselves, who wants something that requires them to grow, who wants something that cannot be achieved with who they are right now, that person is in a completely different game. Because the desire keeps outpacing the achievement. Every time you reach a level, the desire is already further ahead. Not because you are never satisfied, but because the desire was never really about the destination. It was about becoming someone capable of the destination, and that kind of desire does not run out. So let me ask you directly, and I want you to answer this honestly, not the answer that sounds right, the actual answer. What is the size of your desire right now? Is it big enough to make you uncomfortable? Is it big enough that people around you occasionally think you're being unrealistic? Is it big enough that on your worst days, the thought of not doing it feels worse than the difficulty of doing it? If yes, you have something real. Protect it. If no, that is okay. That is just honest. And honest is always the right place to start. How desire changes how you think. Here's something I find incredible about desire. When it is real, when it is layered, when it has a reason, it literally changes how you think. Not metaphorically, actually. Your thoughts follow your desires. Whatever you want most, whatever is burning most consistently inside you, that is the direction your mind keeps walking toward without being told to. Have you ever bought a car, or even just decided you wanted one, and then suddenly you see that exact car everywhere? It was always there. You just never had a reason to notice it. Desire works the same way, but for opportunities, for connections, for information. The moment a desire becomes real, your brain starts scanning your environment differently. Things that were always there, resources, people, ideas, open doors, start becoming visible. Not because the world changed, because you changed what you're looking for. And this is why two people can be in the exact same city, the exact same industry, the exact same circumstances, and one of them is moving and one of them is standing still. It is not that one is luckier, it is that one is looking for something with enough intensity that they keep finding pieces of it. And the one who is standing still, they are not looking, not really, because looking requires wanting, and wanting requires believing the thing is actually possible for you. That belief, that tiny, fragile, incredibly important belief that it is actually possible for you, is where desire lives or dies. So if there is a part of you that has a desire but keeps talking yourself out of it, keeps finding evidence that people like you don't get to have things like that, I need you to hear this. The only evidence that matters is what you decide to do with the time you have left. The moment desire becomes dangerous, there is a moment that happens when desire crosses a certain threshold. And I call it dangerous because from the outside, it looks a little bit like losing your mind. It is the moment when the desire becomes non-negotiable, when you stop treating it as one option among several and start treating it as the only option that makes sense. What kills desire and how to protect it? I have to talk about this because nobody does. Desire can die, not because it was never real, not because you didn't want it enough, but because there are very specific things that will drain it quietly, slowly, until one day you look up and realize the fire is just embers. Comparison kills desire. The moment you start measuring your chapter 3 against someone else's chapter 20, the moment you let someone else's pace become the evidence that you are failing, desire starts to retreat, because desire needs to believe the thing is possible, and comparison is a machine designed to make you feel like you are already behind. Talking too much kills desire. There is research on this, and I want you to take it seriously. When you tell people about your goals before you've achieved them, your brain receives a small version of the reward it was supposed to get from the achievement itself. The social recognition, the "oh wow, that's amazing," and that small reward quietly the urgency. The desire was trying to use the gap between where you are and where you want to be as fuel. You just close part of that gap with words instead of action. Build in private longer than feels comfortable. Let the work speak before you do. And the last thing, wrong environment kills desire. Not wrong city, not wrong job necessarily, wrong people. If the people around you most consistently respond to your desire with doubt, with fear, that's not realistic. And what's your backup plan? Your desire will slowly adjust to match their ceiling, not because you are weak, because we are social creatures and we are wired to calibrate to the people around us. This is not a reason to abandon the people you love. It is a reason to find even one other person, just one, who is reaching for something real, Someone whose desire makes you feel less alone in yours. Someone who does not need you to be smaller so they can feel comfortable. Find that person, the one thing you need to do today. I have talked a lot in this video, and I know that by the end of a video like this, the temptation is to feel inspired for a few hours and then go back to exactly what you were doing. I've done it. You've done it. We've all done it. So I am not going to ask you to write a 5-year plan. I am not going to tell you to journal or vision board or manifest. I am going to ask you to do one thing. Sit with this question tonight. Not now if you're driving or multitasking. Tonight. When things are quiet, the question is, what is the thing I keep not letting myself fully want? Because fully wanting it means I have to actually try, and trying means I might actually fail. That thing you just thought of, that's it. That's the desire. Not the safe version of it, not the edited down version you tell people about. The full version, the real size of it, the one that scares you a little, that one. You know what the saddest thing is? Most people will die with their desire still inside them, not because they couldn't, not because the world wouldn't let them, because they never gave themselves permission to fully want it. They kept waiting to feel ready. They kept waiting for someone to tell them it was okay. They kept wanting it quietly, privately, safely, in a way that never required them to risk anything. And I understand that. I really do. Wanting something fully is vulnerable, because then not getting it actually hurts. But here is what I know. Not wanting it fully hurts too. It just hurts quietly, over a very long time, in a way that is easy to mistake for just how life feels. You deserve more than the quiet version. Go want the real thing.